It ends with modest gains amidst mixed global cues. Broader market outperforms. Nifty fails to hold on to 25,000. India weak skid below the 4% on a good trade. Auto, FMCG, energy charge ahead, while select pharma stocks saw some pressure.
Sources tell CNBC-TV18 the Chinese foreign minister has provided India assurances on fertilizers, rare earth magnets and tunnel boring machines. The likely easing of rare earth magnet supplies fires up auto stocks.
Shares of telecom operators Bharti Airtel and Vodafone Idea, as well as Jio parent Reliance Industries, rally on expectations that higher data usage will help lead to tariff repair, with customers moving to higher data plans. Hello and welcome to Markets Forward, a special edition and your go-to show where we aim to get you all key data points to gear up for the next trading session. I'm Vinny Motiwala. With me is my colleague Vamakshi as well. Vamakshi, one more day where we have seen Nifty actually touch 25,000, then again came back. Yesterday also we had seen a good day coming in. And today, interestingly, how we saw the day starting was a bit muted. Slight gains, but then we picked up pace and we picked up momentum, closing almost near 25,000, but yes, missing that mark still in today's trading session.
Well, absolutely, Vinny. Despite the kind of downpour that we've seen, the grey skies, it's a vibrant green-looking screen. The bulls marched on in today's trading session. In fact, when we look at, some of the indices that actually did quite well, the Nifty Auto, it managed to post a second consecutive day of an up move, especially, stocks like Hyundai, Ola Electric, all of them spiked up in trade. The FMCG index also did quite well, was up for the second consecutive day, with stocks like Colgate as well as Nestle perking up in trade. Textile stocks, well, they also continued to do well, Vinny.
Absolutely, and do not forget the broader end of the market that continued to outperform. Advance decline ratio clearly in the favor of advances versus declines that we saw coming in through the day as well. So interesting to watch out for in terms of overall the trading session as well. A good day that came in by the end of the day. But let's look at what we have for you all on the show today. An interesting lineup. We'll start with the top movers and shakers of the day with Hormaz Fatakia. And well, then we'll talk about the Nifty Auto Index, which witnessed an uptick on the back of anticipated lift in rare earth magnet curbs, while Bharti Airtel and Vodafone Idea also witnessed a surge on back of revision in Jio's entry-level recharge plan. So that kept all these telecom stocks in focus. Last but not the least, we're going to delve into the key market events to watch out for in tomorrow's trading session.
Well, absolutely an action-packed 20 minutes up for our viewers. But on to our first segment of the day. Hormaz joins us now from the big wall with the top movers and shakers of the day. Hormaz, over to you.
Another day of gains for the auto companies, be it the auto names or be it the auto ancillaries. All of them had a very good day today for the second day running, be it the likes of Tata Motors, be it the likes of Hero MotoCorp. Jamna Auto had its best day in 4 years. Motherson Wiring, Bellrise Industries seeing a 12% advance as well. Bellrise is now up over 70% from its IPO price of 90 rupees. The other segment that did well today, textile names, after the battering that it had taken recently, Vardhaman Textiles, Raymond Lifestyle up 10%, Ambika Cotton doing well, Gokaldas too seeing good gains in today's session. The other pocket that was doing well today though, amidst this entire rain season here in Mumbai, is the QSR names. Look at Devyani International, look at Westlife Food World, Sapphire Industries, Barbecue Nation, all of them seeing gains of anywhere between 3 to 7% in today's session. PSU Banks was another pocket that did well today. There was the Indian Overseas Bank, or every single constituent of the PSU Bank index ending higher gains of anywhere between 1.5% to 3%. And lastly, it was no point in trying to pick out losers on a day like this. So he took the stocks at 52-week highs today. HRE Glasscoat at 20% upper circuit today at a 52-week high. Paytm as an upper circuit, as Paytm as a 52-week high as well. And Force Motors too, was almost 5.5% uptick, another 52-week high for this stock as well.
Okay, Hormaz, thank you so much for that. And seems like those QSR names are binging because everyone is sitting and ordering food at home as well. So that's what we'll be keeping an eye out on going forward. But today, surely QSR saw a very, very good move in the trading session. But let's bring on board our guest for today. We have Jay Bala's CMT at cashthechaos.com, as well as Sudeep Bandopadhyay, Group Chairman at IndiTrade. Sudeep as well as Jay, thanks so much for joining us as always. Sudeep, QSR names, let's just talk about that, right? Today we have seen that do well. Any specific moves that we should watch out for from these companies? Not much of a performance that we've seen coming in the past 6 months, at least, from these companies.
Well, Vinny, you're right. Last 6 months have been a bit subdued, but I think look at the season we are heading into. We are heading into festive season. There will be a lot of cricket as well going forward. So I think these are the things which do ensure that these consumption names really start doing well. So I'm reasonably hopeful about these names for the forthcoming festive season, which effectively means we will see them perform much better in Q3 and Q4. So by end of this September, I think the festival season will be in full swing, but the impact of that will be felt in Q3 and Q4. So whether it's a Devyani International, whether it's Westlife, I think all of these will definitely have better quarters. Normally they do in the Q3 and Q4.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Sudeep. Hi, Jay. This is Vamakshi also joining in. So, Jay, my question is to you. So, we were very close to the 25,000 mark at close today. Where do you see the markets headed from here on? Because in the past, we've seen the 25,000 mark pose as a big challenge for at least the Nifty.
Yeah, hi, Vamakshi. The 25,000 level is just a round number. It doesn't have much significance from a technical perspective. 24,960 was an important resistance. The market has taken out that. So the trend is still higher. And I've been saying that Nifty Auto Index is likely to lead the market higher. And if that has started, it's very likely to spread wider. And from a 6 months to 12 months perspective, I'm maintaining my objective of 29,000 for the Nifty. So this is start of a bullish move. Expect wider participation and the market rally to widen even further.
Okay, expect market participation to widen even further going forward. That will be interesting to watch out for. But you did touch upon that auto index as well, right? Today, Nifty Auto Index among the top sectoral gainers. Yesterday, also it was buzzing in trade and it was up, almost 4%. Now, after the second consecutive day of gain, today, what was the reason? There was China's foreign minister that has assured India of addressing the rare earth magnet import issue. What does this mean? What are the details that are coming in? Sudarshan is joining in with us for that. Sudarshan.
So auto has been the pact for the second straight day with Nifty Auto Index rising more than 1%. Similar move was seen with Nifty EV Index, and all the auto stocks have moved higher as well. So after yesterday's, on the hope of GST rate cut that we saw big move in auto stocks, today there was a news regarding, and it's from sources, that India's foreign minister had a meeting with China's foreign minister in which from the Indian side some of the issues were raised on which sources indicate that China has assured India of looking at those issues, and one among those issues was regarding rare earth magnet supply. If you remember, over the last few months, all the auto companies have been talking about the shortage that they have been seeing in rare earth magnet, and they had told that if the supply issue persists, they will have no option left but to cut the production. But now, market is expecting that after the assurance from Chinese side, the curbs on rare earth magnet supply can be lifted. Now, on the back of that, we have seen a big move. Top Nifty gainer was Tata Motors because it has a huge exposure in EV in the form of JLR. It will also benefit the companies which have hybrid exposure, and amongst all the Indian companies, Maruti is one company which has hybrid products in the form of Invicto and Grand Vitara, and also it will benefit auto ancillary names because they have the clients which have EV exposure, like Samantha Motherson was up more than 5%. Similar move was in Sona BLW. Now, apart from GST rejig and this rare earth magnet news flows, another news flow that can help auto companies, especially entry-level companies like Hero Moto, which is a market leader entry-level segment in two-wheeler. If you have seen over the last few days, Hero Moto has been moving higher, and similar move was seen in Maruti as well, because normally ahead of festive season, we see a big uptick in the demand, especially for the entry-level cars and bikes.
Well, thank you so much, Sudarshan, for joining in with your take on why the auto sector was zooming in trade today. But let's also get a take from Sudeep. Sudeep, do you have a view on any of these auto names like Hyundai Motor? It is sitting at an all-time high, as well as Maruti Suzuki, because it has also hit a fresh 52-week high.
A couple of things, Vamakshi. One is, I think, the finance minister of China has heard what we want, and he has, promised to look into it. But they have also raised some corresponding demands of providing market access to their corporates and looking at that press note, which ensures that every Chinese investment cannot be through automatic route, and it has to go through a special approval process. So let's see how things pan out eventually. So I will, while this is excellent news, I won't take it as done and dusted. So we'll have to see where it ends. As far as specifically Maruti and Hyundai is concerned, I think this, of course, rare earth thing is a benefit, but more important is this GST announcement which came on 15th August from the Prime Minister, and GST rationalization will definitely help Maruti and Hyundai, because the entry-level cars becoming cheaper will help them in the festive season when the consumption gets a boost. And the cars being a bit cheaper will definitely encourage. And that's the reason why we have been seeing that since yesterday, both Maruti and Hyundai has been moving up. If I have to pick one amongst the two, I think I'll go with Maruti. I think they have the product range and variety, as well as the balance sheet strength, which I think I do like. Yes, it will not be my top pick, but considering this GST benefit and also the rare earth easing out, hopefully, I will go with Maruti.
Okay, you will go with Maruti coming in, given these benefits and Philips that have come in the recent times as well. But Jay, on the technical front, what would you be looking at in the auto sector? And overall, how are you seeing the auto index, right? You started by saying also that auto index has just started participating. You expect a wider participation. But in auto index, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I've been pointing out that the auto index is likely to lead the market higher, and that's already happened. And yesterday's gap up on the Nifty auto index, that's unlikely to be filled for several weeks to possibly a few months. And I'm anticipating the Nifty auto index to touch about 28,500 to 3,600, and that's a conservative price objective. It could do much higher. I'm bullish on Bajaj Auto. It's possibly heading to something like 10,500. And I'm also bullish on Samvardhana Motherson Sumi. I'm anticipating a short-term move there. Bajaj Auto, although could be a medium-term move, it could. I'm keeping a very conservative objective of 10,500. Raji Bajaj has an objective somewhere close to 16,000 or 20,000. Don't recall exactly. It's easily possible that Bajaj Auto could go and retest the all-time highs registered in July of 2024.
All right, so keeping an eye out on Bajaj Auto as well as Motherson, but let's also move on and focus in on Reliance Jio, because it has revised its entry-level recharge plan. Its new entry-level plan for prepaid users now starts at 299 rupees. My colleague Reema Tendulkar joins us with the details. Reema, take us through what has actually transpired.
Thanks so much for that. So Jio has tweaked its prepaid pricing, especially at the entry level. Now earlier, the baseline or the entry level tariff was you get 1 GB of data per day for 22 days. If you take a 22-day pack, you pay 209. If you take a 28-day pack, a 4-week pack, you have to pay 249. The change is that these entry level plans are still available in a store. You go to a point of sale, a POS store, physically you will get it. But online, these plans are no longer available. Online, if you want to recharge a prepaid card, then the cheapest plan is now a 299 plan. But the change is, earlier for 249, you were getting 1 GB of data. Now for 299, you're getting 1.5 GB of data. So effectively, for the online medium only, for online recharges, the 1 GB per data plan by Reliance Jio no longer exists. Now this is a positive because indirectly this is a tariff increase. According to certain estimates by brokerages, this can benefit Jio's ARPU anywhere between about 4 to 7%, which is why you are seeing the stock price do well today.
Reema, stay on with us. There's a case now is there a case actually now for Bharti Airtel and Vodafone to actually revise their base monthly plans? Is that also something we'll be watching out for?
So, as I was explaining, now for Reliance Jio, online, if you want to recharge, you no longer have a 1 GB data option available. But for Bharti and Vodafone Idea, you still do. They still offer a 1 GB data plan per day, which is priced at 299 rupees. But if they decide to scrap it and they move to 1.5 GB of data, that means then the price goes up to 349. And here we're asking the question that after Jio has moved on tariffs, will its peers, its competitors also move on the tariff front? And the argument that people are saying is that possibly yes, because the industry has been calling for tariff repair, they've been talking about ARPUs inching up, and plus data is now become such a necessity. It is a requirement. Our data consumption has been going up day after day. So therefore now it's no longer an option to downtrade, to say that I don't want to pay more, I'm willing to do with less data for the same price. And therefore analysts are pointing out there is a possibility, or there is a case for its peers also perhaps to discontinue the 1 GB data plan, that's Bharti and Vodafone Idea, and maybe move to 1.5 GB of data per plan. If that happens, again, like in the case of Reliance Jio, you will see an ARPU boost even for Bharti Airtel and Vodafone Idea if they decide to follow suit.
Well, thanks so much for that, Reema. Sudeep, do you have a view on Bharti Airtel as well as Vodafone? Vodafone, of course, disclosed its numbers very recently. We also had commentary coming in from the management in the conference call. So your view on Vodafone Idea, Bharti Airtel, what would be your top pick?
Well, Bharti Airtel definitely is my top pick amongst the telecom companies. I'm not considering Reliance here. Reliance anyway has been in my top pick list for the last 6-8 months. As far as Vodafone Idea is concerned, I think, I'm not convinced yet. Look, they have the problem on the financing and the capital, and that's understandable, and that's a big, big challenge. I can understand. But they are on the operational side also, they have not been performing up to the mark. They've been losing customers, month on month, quarter on quarter. And that doesn't augur well for the business in the long term. So as far as Voda Idea is concerned, I think they have to stem the rot in the operational level first, before we can even talk about what's going to happen, whether they're able to raise capital or not. That's secondary to my mind. Primary, after the rights issue happened, after everything, we were hoping that at least the customer attrition will stop, but that hasn't stopped yet. I think that's most important, and I'm not seeing that yet.
Okay, that's the view coming in there on some of these telecom names. But let's move on and talk about textile players today. They were buzzing in trade as well. Whether you look at a Vardhan Textile, Welspun Living, all these stocks today. Now, what came in actually as a news flow that we saw is that the government is scrapping duty on imports of raw cotton till 30th of September, starting 19th of August till 30th of September. So all 40 days that you will get this duty will not be there. This is the custom duties that we're talking about. Additionally, there's going to be an AIDC, which is the cess. That is also not going to be applicable for this 40-day period. Now, obviously, this custom duty on imports currently was standing at around 11%. And this move is coming in to mitigate the pressure that was coming in because of tariffs, right? And there's a possibility of that 50% tariff that could come in from the US, which is causing a bit of a concern and worry for these textile players. We've seen them fall as well when that 25% plus penalty was announced for, India, and textile players took a big hit during that time. Now, this is going to give an exemption or a benefit to textile chains, whether you look at yarn players, fabric players, garment makers as well. So all this comes in as a positive sign, and that is why these stocks were buzzing in trade today. But Jay, your view coming in on these textile players, anything that you would watch out for?
Most of them aren't that great, but I like Ambika Cotton. It's got a neat short-term price structure, and it's coming off from an important support. So there is some potential, at least for the short term, in Ambika Cotton. The next is probably Welspun Living, but it's not that a confident pick. I like Ambika Cotton from current levels, possibly further higher highs to come through.
All right, so you're bullish on Ambika Cottons, but we spoke from everywhere about from autos to textiles. But now let's go across to Gaurav, who is here with a whole set of stocks which gained in trade today. Vedanta was up ahead of its upcoming board meet, and Inox Wind jumped after it offloaded stake in Inox Renewable Solutions. Gaurav, over to you.
Well, yes, both Vedanta and Inox Wind were in focus. So first, let's talk about Vedanta. Two news flows here because of which the stock is in focus. First is that board meeting is going to happen on 21st of August, where board will consider second interim dividend. Now remember, first interim dividend was already announced worth 7 rupees, and in FY25, company has given dividends worth more than 40 rupees. So all eyes on that. Second is that company's NCLT hearing is also going to happen on the demerger schedule. So there is going to be demerger scheme, after which there will be 5 listed companies from Vedanta. Other than that, Inox Wind is also in focus, and the reason being that company has sold its stake in one of the EPC subsidiaries called Inox Renewable Solutions. Now this stake sale happened at a cost of around 175 crores, and the company was valued at around 7,400 crores. Remember, now the company's stake has brought down to 88.8%, and in FY25, if you look at some of the numbers, revenue contributed almost 6% from this subsidiary. So definitely both these stocks were in focus on the back of the news flows.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out on the names going forward as well. But today, both of the stocks were in focus. Thanks so much for that, Gaurav. And thank you so much, Jay, as well as Deep, also for joining in on the show and giving us your view in terms of individual stocks as well as the market. But on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. We'll get you the top corporate voices along with key market events to watch out for on the other side.
Welcome back to Market Forward. Now let's go across to key market voices we received during the day. First up is JK Cement. The management says 4,800 crore rupees expansion plan will be funded 65% by debt and 35% from internal accruals. The management expects peak debt level to be in the range of 5,500 crore rupees. Adds after Rajasthan expansion, it will look at South Cluster for additional 5 to 7 million tons of capacity. Further, they also expect around 20 million tons of sales in FY26.
Next up, we also had the management of Blue Star, and they said that they welcome the move that is proposed in terms of GST rationalization. It believes that GST rationalization is set to aid AC demand, provided there is a clarity on the rate and the date of implementation of the new rate. Otherwise, believes AC sales will come to standstill, as despite a weak summer, sales that the AC industry could witness a growth of 10 to 15% for FY26.
Well, next up is Bluestone. The company marked a tepid D-Street debut after listing at 1% discount against the issue price. The management says FY26 will be significantly better compared to last year. It guides for 40% growth and aims to add 75 to 80 stores this year. They further expect sharp turnaround in profitability in the coming quarter.
Okay, and before we wrap up this edition of Markets Forward on CNBC TV18, let's get you the key events to watch out for in tomorrow's trading session. For that, we have Gaurav with us. Gaurav, over to you.
Well, yes, when we look at key events on the global fronts, there are no major key events, but we will be watching out on the Fed meetings minutes, because with this we will get some kind of details from this meeting. Other than that, we will also be watching out on some events from Indian market specifically. First is that Finance Minister is going to meet all the CEOs of the PSBs on August 20th. So that is definitely something which we will be watching out for, because they will be reviewing the Q1 performance. Other than that, Nirmala Sitharaman will also be attending the group of ministers meeting, and with this they will be addressing two issues specifically on the GST, on cess and insurance on August of 20th, and GST rationalization on August of 21st. So both the events are going to be a key thing to watch out for. Core 8 index, now we will get some data on this index as well. Remember, this index is important when it comes to a lagging indicator, and we will get the data for the month of July. Vedanta is also going to be in focus, specifically if we talk about stocks, because NCLT hearing is going to happen on demerger. Remember, after that there will be 5 listed entities from Vedanta Group. And lastly, let's also focus on some events which are going to happen from Russia, because External Affairs Minister Mr. Jaishankar is on a 3-day visit to Russia, and on August 20th specifically he will be addressing India and Russia Business Forum meetings in Moscow. So definitely all eyes on this meeting, because specifically given some kind of bitterness which is coming up from the US market because of the relation of India with Russian markets.
Well, thank you so much for that, Gaurav. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Market Forward. From Vinny, me and everyone who put the show together, thank you so much for tuning in. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more news and updates on the other side.